Reserve time.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dota 2 Canada Cup Season 4. We've got the last game before the best of two, or sorry, the round of two. What's the best way to phrase that? Basically, the winner, yeah, the semis. Yeah, we've got the semifinals of the opener coming up here. Joining me is MRP Dota. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going to be interesting to see Liposa. He's playing for Rebeldes here. I haven't been able to cast him in the qualifiers thus far. Casted a lot of him in THD, the house is down. But Rebeldes, newly formed Brazilian squad, and they look pretty good from what I saw from the VODs.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about them. I know a little bit more about Together We Did It. I saw them play in the Canada Weekly Cups that we're on before
10 seconds
Season
to
4
go.
started. But I don't know a whole lot about Rebeldes. I believe I casted them their one series, though.
Yeah, so we'll see how they fare. TWDI looking pretty good in this one, too. I believe they went to 3 games, however, in their first series against Lucini, and they did end up doing that. So one of the few teams that wasn't able to take their game against the Open Qualifiers 2-0. But either way, should be in for some good Dota here.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some pretty common bans and picks coming out so far. Axe and Juggernaut for Together We Did It. The Bat Rider and Troll Warlord for Rebeldes. And the Vengeful Spirit opener. So nothing too strange, but you've been watching DAC, you've seen it all.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, Axe, Troll, Jug are absolute perennial bans in the last patch, and they're almost there every game. Batrider certainly a strong hero throughout the game, and so definitely a nice ban coming out from Rebeldes. Perhaps something that throws a wrench a little bit into their plans here. But yeah, as you mentioned, not the most common first phase ban, but still a strong hero nonetheless. And speaking of strong heroes, TWDI going to prioritize that Vengeful Spirit.
Definitely, and you almost wonder if maybe Batrider is a targeted ban at some point. I don't know the Together We Did It guys well enough to know if they have a Bat player, but Bat is one of those heroes where if you have somebody who's really good at it, you ban it, just because of how strong it is.
Yeah, definitely so. He can establish a lot of map control, be a very intimidating force throughout that mid game, and so, as you mentioned, can really be a little bit scary to face up against, especially if you're considering a player who's quite proficient on him. So we are going to see Rebeldes look to spend a little reserve time thinking about their 1-2 into this Vengeful Spirit. It'll be interesting to see what they pick up.
Yeah, the common picks that are left are Lion. He hasn't been touched yet. You often see him banned out now, or picked up pretty early. They could go. What are some other heroes that we see all the time? Lion, Bristleback is one that's been making an appearance. Lycan wasn't going to be my first stop, but definitely one that we've seen start to get played more in the higher professional scene, than the DAC and other tournaments.
Yeah, we've seen the return of some deathballing lineups from quite a few of the Tier 1 teams, as you mentioned, and they are going to pair it up with the Visage. The Visage, of course, synergizes very well with the Howl, and also does with the Vengeful Spirit. And as we've seen very much in this late meta, both teams are going to opt for a very physical damage-heavy 1-2 from their draft.
Yeah, the Visage Familiars, they get the buff from Howl. It's not as good as getting Drow, but I think Lycan's a much sturdier hero and can do a little more on his own than a Drow Ranger can. Definitely not as fragile, so it's the safer combination, especially when you have somebody on Visage who you maybe don't need him to just A-click the birds. He's actually, the player can micro them well, get the stomps off, and all that kind of thing. So we'll see. Faceless Void going to be banned out as well as a ban phase.
Yeah, definitely something you don't want to see when you have a Lycan on your side. You really do rely on that 650 MS that's provided by the Shapeshift in order to be able to jump in and then remove yourself from team fights while doing quite a bit of work. So Lycan's certainly not a hero you want to play into a Faceless Void, and I definitely respect that ban coming out from Rebeldes. A little bit interesting, TWDI does have the Vengeful Spirit. So yeah, if a Void came out, it would have been on their side, certainly not on Rebeldes'. But either way, definitely a wise ban. Drow ban comes out from TWDI, so they won't have that mid lane Drow or Lycan to pair up with the Visage, and that certainly would be a very scary combo. So TWDI, a wise ban from themselves.
Chen also going to get banned out. Another hero that we've seen a bit of a resurgence of the Chen, as he was buffed quite a bit recently, being able to call his creeps to himself, and once he gets the Ags, take over those ancient creeps. Bristleback also banned out. So another big physical damage and armor reduction hero there. And one thing with all these minus armor and physical damage strats, I know traditionally he's been considered poor, but I'm surprised you don't see him any Slardar, just because of how good Amp is. Like, even if you went something strange like a support Slardar, just like sprint in, crush, and then once you get level 6, minus armor everybody and go for that. But it's just kind of surprised.
Yeah, I mean, he has. I feel like there was a buff to the cooldown of amp damage fairly recently as well. And yeah, it's a little interesting that he doesn't come out there. But I feel like a lot of these initiators have come back for the offlaners. We've seen a really big resurgence of, in my opinion, of Clockwork recently. And with the Blade Mail, he is pretty tanky innately with his base armor. And so he can stand in 1v1 versus most of these physical damage carriers as long as he picks up a Blade Mail. Else, some things like the Troll Warlord usually will bring him down. But yeah, either way, it's surprising to me more so that there's really hasn't been much Omni Knight. A lot of these physical damage heroes aren't really ideal diffusal blade builders, so it's a little interesting. I haven't seen him come out. I mean, he does show up from time to time, but certainly hasn't made his way up to being a first ban, first pick hero or anything even near the like. So will be interesting to see how these teams go. Earthshaker going to be picked up here from TWDI, a very obvious pick into the Lycan. Visage Bird's not so much, but just having the extra units there will buff the Echo Slam even if it doesn't damage them.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious as to the Earthshaker pick into Clockwork. Both Earthshaker and Shadow Fiend can get their animations completely locked down by the Clockwork if he gets them into cogs. Except for Echo Slam, Shadow Fiend can't raise it or pop Requiem, and the Earthshaker can't use Enchant Totem or use the Fissure. So kind of a strange choice there. Also, with the Lycan, it's a little bit makes it a little bit difficult, but maybe if they're just going for more split push orientated stuff, won't be the biggest deal. He can hook in behind the tower, kind of push people away, force them back, walk himself out, and then into the loving arms of his Witch Doctor, which was picked up for Rebeldes as their 4th pick, last of the 2nd phase. And then they've also got the Birds and Visage to do a lot of damage from deep behind the cogs. So it's an okay pick, but it's just a little off.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're going heavy towards this physical, so look for an early medallion to come out from either the Visage or the Lycan. But as you mentioned, much like it synergizes with Chronosphere, the Death Ward, very nice into the cogs. As you alluded to earlier, Earthshaker is kind of countered up by Clockwork, but it's on paper, it's as if they counter each other. If Clockwork isn't able to initiate on that Earthshaker, definitely he won't be able to get, he'll be able to get little to none done aside from dropping an Echo Slam under that Battery Assault. But at the same time, from the periphery of the cogs, he can throw that Fissure in to disrupt kind of Clockwork's movements or intentions there. So we'll see how it plays out. I feel like it's more of a matter of execution, but definitely if Clockwork is left alone with that Earthshaker, should be able to bring him down. And as you mentioned, also pretty good into the Requiem.
Yeah, I really like the Tide pickup. I feel like they needed a Blink Initiator who's going to get some farm. Usually Earthshakers are the poorest hero on the map. Unfortunately, they often don't get that extra farm. A lot of other heroes do, but with Tide, I think they should be okay. And Rebeldes, they don't have a whole lot of... I mean, Tide's very good against physical damage coming out from the Birds, and Anchor Smash is very good against them as well. Kraken Shell helps sort of quite a bit as also. The Lycan Wolves, I mean, they'll chip away a little bit, but they're really not that strong, and they're very weak to the Anchor Smash. So I like the Tide pick. It also gives them somebody to kind of start the fights. So good pick up there. Anti-Mage banned out, and the TA. Quickly burning through those last two bans, and we're into Rebeldes. I believe they need a mid, unless they're going the Arteezy Eternal Envy Lycan mid strat, in which case they could use a safe laner, but I'm not... As far as mids go, I think Storm Spirit would be really strong for Rebeldes.
Yeah, the Orchid would certainly be nice. I mean, Tide is not your ideal Orchid target with the Kraken Shell there, but that build should do a lot of work versus at least the supports of TWDI. He can jump in on a Shadow Fiend. Yeah, he can jump in on a Shadow Fiend and Orchid up Avenge, and more often than not, you're going to be able to kill off that Shadow Fiend, especially with how much physical damage they have. So even if he does opt for that BKB build, they should be able to burst him down more often than not. So certainly I like that pick, as you mentioned. The Puck, not bad here as well. But they're actually going to go for the Necro, so I would assume this will be a safe lane Necro with the Lycan in the mid. Necro's not the strongest mid laner, especially up against an SF. He will be able to sustain himself, but once the SF is able to gather some of those souls, he's going to have a very poor time in lane. So I do expect that to be the Lycan, as you mentioned earlier. This looks like it will be some early aggression coming out from Rebeldes. Necrophos with the sustain. Lycan, of course, will be able to pick up his units pretty quickly, and with the Visage, they should look to start pushing towers under the cover of that Voodoo Restoration.
Yeah, smart draft pattern coming out from Rebeldes as well. They picked the heals last after Together We Did It had already grabbed their two supports, and they're gonna end it with a Wind Ranger. You want to take this away? I just gotta update the text on my overlay.
Yeah, it's an interesting pickup for that Wind Ranger. It probably will be towards the off lane. Perhaps they're centered around an aggressive try. I feel like they're going to put Soji's Tide in this safe lane here, find him some farm. They're going to rely a lot on his ability to initiate. Really, the only other long range initiation they have is a Fisher, which will put the Earthshaker Jipples into combat. So I do worry for their ability to get the Tide the farm, but if he does, that should bode very well for TWDI. Rebeldes, I feel like they scale pretty well throughout the game. So I don't feel like most push lineups, there's a timing window with them. Visage scales very well as a support, as does Witch Doctor. Necrophos isn't the greatest late gamer, but that Ag's ultimate, if he's able to get it up, can be absolutely huge, denying a buyback from Rebeldes.
Yeah, definitely. Turn off that HUD. Well, as it gets in the way, I was trying out the DAC. See how I liked it, but
yeah.
Either way, moving into this game for Rebeldes, we've got CYS playing the Necrophos. QQQ is playing the Lycan. C4T is playing the Witch Doctor, and Lovejoy is playing that Visage. Last but certainly not least for them, we've got Laposa playing the Clockwork.
Yeah, Laposa, formerly of the House is Down. So they were certainly considered the second best team in Brazil behind Pain Gaming for a while. So it'll be interesting to see how he fares. Either way, on the TWDI side, we've got Jipples playing on the Earthshaker. He's going to be accompanied by Curio on the Vengeful Spirit. In the safe lane, we've got Taku on that Wind Ranger, which leaves Jix in the middle lane on his Shadow Fiend. And I'm pretty much sure he's played almost every game, like a Shadow Fiend game in this tournament thus far. And finally, Soji going to pick up his Tidehunter, looking pretty pimp with that Mohawk.
30 seconds to go.
Yeah, definitely gonna have an okay time in the bottom lane. This Soji, that is. He's got boots as well. Interesting build. No, often you see Tides maybe want to go the off lane, grab at least a couple Iron Branches, or sorry, yeah, Iron Branches, or the I don't know why that escaped me. I mean, Iron Branch, but. You're gonna see them trade blows down here in the bottom lane. Gonna contest that rune. Tide's gonna take a lot more harass than he really wants to here, which is a little unfortunate. He's gonna have to burn through at least 2 tangos to get back full. That's
he
rough.
takes far too much there without having the Anchor Smash skilled up, and easy harass coming out from the Radiant side. They'll get the bounty rune on the bottom. Top one will go to Taku's Wind Ranger.
Yeah, and honestly, I would almost consider Wind Ranger the hardest carry on the map right now. I mean, SF and Lycan are pretty close, but the recent changes to the way Focus Fire works, when she gets that Ags, she can dish out an absurd amount of damage, and if she starts to snowball, it will be very impressive. Not to mention, they have a lot of minus armor for her to really do some serious work there.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps around the 25-minute mark, but as it scales on, she will tend to fall off. But yeah, as you mentioned, the changes to Focus Fire are pretty nice. Mount the top lane.
The bottom lane. He's taking some right clicks here. Gonna be okay. I thought he was gonna get harassed back a little harder, but. Sorry, to interrupt.
Yeah, not a problem. Cat doing work there. Liposa should have a very good time on the Clockwork in the off lane as well. Although they do have the defensive try. Currently, Curio is up pulling those creeps. So they will have quite a few stuns to deal with him, but really no way to close the gap considerably reliably with Venge having low range and Earthshaker being melee.
Yeah, they're going to have a really hard time trying to get around for the fissure block, as well as he's just going to cogs and force them back. I mean, they won't be able to do a whole lot there. But what I want to talk about is I can throw up in the mid lane, 9 and 4. SF, he's got 2 CS. Make that 3 now, but he's having a pretty rough time. Oh, top lane.
Yeah, there was a very nicely placed shackle from Taku, but they didn't have quite enough to bring down Liposa. He'll be able to rotate. As you mentioned, they finally do get that Fissure block off the back of the magic missile, and Liposa holding onto the cogs until he gets stunned. But either way, gonna survive just fine.
Yeah, so nice play there. Taku fairly low, but he's going to be alright for now. In the bottom lane, Witch Doctor's pretty hurt. Forced the Tide back, though. Maybe he goes for... not even going for the stack here. Instead, poor Tide, still level 1. That said, we are going to see a smoke rotation into the mid lane. QQQ, he's going to get fissured and nicely blocked. Just waiting for the magic missile to follow up, and SF's going to get all of his souls with one more right click. Oh, the bottle! He's still alive! There's the raise. Nicely played from Jix. Able to pick that one off, and now he's all caught up on his souls, getting the first blood gold as well. Going to help him towards that bottle. And
yeah, holding on to that raise, trying to be a little bit economical, but right as he gets out of that third range, or into that third raise range, he's able to drop him down. So yeah, certainly a very nice kill. Then the Lycan was actually dominating the CS in mid prior to that kill.
Yeah, and he still is. He's very far ahead. He's 14 and 5. Nicely done. Necrophos actually tied with him in the bottom lane. sitting at 15 and 6. SF and Windranger are trailing. Windranger's only got the 11 and 3, but been harassing a little bit more maybe. And we are going to see the hard carry build. Phase boots coming up from Windranger, not going for treads or mana boots, but definitely going for all that damage.
Yeah, they are, as you mentioned, they are going to be a little bit reliable on what this, or relying upon what this Windranger is able to offer into the mid game. And she is pretty nice core to have up against mass physical damage coming out from RBD. But they will be able to drop her with the Reaper Scythe if she gets a little bit overzealous.
Yeah, Clockwork, how is he doing? He's got 10 CS, actually doing fairly well. A lot better than this poor Tide. Still level 1. Level 4 on the Clockwork. This Tide has been completely zoned out of the bottom lane. Unable to go near with the between the Heartstopper aura and the harass from the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, definitely so. So he's been shut down quite heavily. Still level 1.5, I think you just mentioned it. And Liposa, in complete contrast, is almost level 5 on this Clockwork.
At the rate this goes, the Tide's going to be easy pickings for the Clockwork, and he won't be able to do these Ancients that he's got stacked up. Like, look at how much damage he takes just there. Oy, poor guy. He might have to do something strange, like go for Tranquils or something just for the regen and the extra armor, but I'll have to see. Clockwork grabs an Invisor, going to be rotating through the jungle. He's only level 4. He does find the Windranger. Jipples is very hurt though. If he can get just Jipples, he should be okay with the cogs and the battery assault. But instead, not going to go for it. Maybe not.
Oh, Sentry just dropped.
I don't think they see him though. And
yeah,
he's going to actually wander away.
Tidehunter was able to get into the tree's bottom lane and got pretty low. He'll be able to salve up, however, and this will be Liposa rotating to lane, knowing the supports aren't present. He's got a level 2 battery assault here. He could be able to bring down Taku even under the level 1 win run. He's going to wait for the units to back off so he gets him solo in this.
Unfortunately, he did catch that range creep, but it should be enough. Needs one more tick. Oh, there it is! He gets it. I don't know if that's a little bit of luck and a lot of skill or what, but getting the bounce forward like he needed, not going backwards. Lycan taking a bunch of damage in the mid lane. And while that was going on, the tower did drop for RBD, so able to force that one down between the double heal and then Visage zoning.
Yeah, very nice little set of engagements. Jix is going to find that solo kill mid onto the Lycan with that last long-range raise. Very well played by him. This is pretty much all we've seen from him all tournament, is playing very well. Shadow Fiend in the mid, as I mentioned. But yeah, Lipose got to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good, and he picks up that Windranger very early on. Nice high-worth target too. Windranger was farming very well. Taku going to opt to pick up the bottle to sustain himself in lane.
Shackle Shot comes out. Not gonna do a whole lot. No, only level 1 Shackle. Doesn't have that second point in it to really make it stick, but doing some decent harass damage there. And they do have to be careful. There's a lot of really solid stuns on TWDI between the Shaker, the Windranger, and the Benching Spirit, and then not to mention the Tide Ravage. So they do have the control to deal with these lineups, especially with this high mobility Lycan trope. They've got enough stuns to lock them down. So we'll see how it goes as we start. Maybe starting to get a little close to that mid-game.
Yeah. Soji almost level 4 now on the Tidehunter. Kurio just prepared a 4-stack of Ancients for him, so he will be able to have some sort of a comeback mechanic. There's no one else on his side that is able to farm Ancients. Shadow Fiend generally farming the large camps, so will be interesting to see if he's able to recover here. Currently, pretty low overall on the level chart, is all the way below the supports of RBD.
Yeah, and this Tide, he's just trying to catch up, but he can't really do anything. They're going to give him the mid lane, but he's got to be careful. He's so low level, these Lycan wolves are going to hurt. And not if Lycan wants to go hard, if he gets a support rotation coming in, stomps when Visage is level 6, which, I mean, they're not... Visage is a little far off, but Witch Doctor's not far off that Death Ward. He's already level 5, so is the Necro Post. He'll be able to bring him down pretty easy if he's not careful.
Yeah, top lane Liposa looking for a hook on this Earthshaker. He stopped casted it once, and he doesn't have vision of Jipples, it being nighttime right now, but looking to find the Windranger perhaps with Cat in tow on the Witch Doctor. He's gonna hook, he's gonna hit the creep, and the Fisher will be there to back them off as well. Voodoo Restoration is there. He's going to try to get the Battery Assault off. The cast bouncing nicely, but the cogs a little bit too late. And the Battery Assault still will bring Taku down. And the Jipple's trying to run away. One more right click. Liposa going to find a double kill on the Clockwork.
Yeah, very nice play coming out from those two. Not giving up, even though the hookshot was missed. And a little bit of the RNGesus cask there, bouncing back and forth between the heroes. Liposa is going to be in a lot of trouble, though, as SF is going to move in and get the kill. So another pickup for him, and He's now level 9, leading the net worth chart, but it's a long stretch from him to his next teammate. And Necrophos, in the meantime, farming quietly, picks up a Midas, and I mean, when you're being left this alone and have all this space, why not?
Yeah, definitely so. He's already picked up his level 7. So Max Death Pulse has got the Reaper Scythe in tow as well. Yeah, a little bit of a panic cog top lane from Liposa. You definitely don't want a cog versus an SF unless you're going to knock him back. And he was a little bit too far to do so. So after picking up that double kill, does feed himself over. But either way, has picked up his bottle and urn and should look to find some more plays with the hookshot off cooldown now.
Yeah, in the mid lane, Necrophos does have an Invisor, and Visage is here as well. Tide doesn't seem to have noticed what's going on. He's going to get slowed by the Grave Chill. They need to get in range for the scythe. They are going to get it, but I don't think it's going to be enough. No, it's not. It's very close. The flare is there, though, from downtown. Clockwork snags that one.
Jams it in. Beautiful play from Liposa there. And nice Fisher coming out from Jibbles, postured defensively behind the Tide, but not quite enough to keep him alive. And meanwhile, everyone farming pretty well from Rebel. Does 2k net worth lead in their favor.
They're forming up a pretty strong lead. They do have that tower, so that's probably a large amount of it, as well as their mid lane going significantly better. Plus, they can take a little bit better advantage of this jungle right now. SF will be able to soon, but not yet. Tide still trying to catch up a little bit here. He is a long ways away from those mana boots and a blink dagger. He's only got he can pick up the mana boots, but then he's 2k away from that blink. So we'll see what he wants to go, if he's going to prioritize the blink manas. I mean, in this case, I think you almost go for the mana boots just so you can farm in general faster. Because if you go for the blink and can't do anything with it, it's kind of a wasted item.
Yeah, definitely so. So we'll see if there's some aggression coming out from RBD trying to push this advantage here. They have picked up the medallion on the Lycan, so once he picks up his Vlads, he's got his Bassi already. Can look to find Roshan by himself, even with the Witch Doctor, perhaps with that Voodoo Restoration. But either way, they are farming pretty well. Double stack, or triple stack, I should say, going to be farmed up by CYS here, as well as his Visage.
Yeah, splitting the experience, trying to get those Visage familiars online, and Lycan looks like he's just going to walk into the Roche pit. And I mean, why not? You've got all the map control in the world. There's no need for any sort of fear whatsoever. Clockwork thought he was going to go for a hookshot on the Wind Ranger, decides not to. Lycan's not going to go for Roche. He's going to instead just wander back mid, push the creeps off the tower, and he should have his Vlads very soon. Yeah, he'll have it basically in one more CS.
Yeah, Jix, the only one really farming too well for TWDI at the moment, is going to look for that Yule's build. So a little bit interesting considering how much physical damage increase they have from the Venge. But either way, he's going to go for that little bit more magic-oriented SF carry, at least early on.
Yeah, I don't think getting the Yule's is too bad. It gives SF a lot of what he needs in and around the early game, like the movement speed, the regen, a way to save himself from the Clockwork. It's not as good as a Force Staff for that, but it does serve the dual purpose. You heal yourself up in the air, maybe hope for the cogs to despawn or allies to rotate in. So you get a little bit of that going on, but it's definitely a very aggressive build. Mid lane Lycan, you got to be a little careful here. There is a Ravage online. They're not going to go for it. I thought maybe they moved the SF in, but it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Yeah, he's got 1,000 HP right now, so I don't know if they could have quite had the kill potential. Familiars are going to scout out this Vengeful Spirit briefly behind the tree, so they do know that he's postured up behind his Tidehunter right now, and it's FHN going to look, or HFN, I should say, going to look to farm up the Ancient Smoke rotation. Top lane, Liposa and Cat looking for some more once again, and Jix will be a massive pickup if they can find him here. He does have the Yules to soak up most of that Battery of the Assault, though, as you mentioned earlier.
Takes out the hookshot, doesn't go for it yet. There it is, nicely done. Juked it a couple of times, able to get in. There's the Yules, but the Death Ward just too much for him to handle. He's brought down very quick. Yeah,
interesting that he Yules up the clock rather than himself, but either way, the SF going to go down there. Very big kill going RBD's way. We'll see if they can translate this into a tower push. That SF is down for 30 seconds without buyback.
Yeah, I almost think that they just go for the go take Roche with the Lycan and then push with Aegis. Get kind of the it's a little greedier when you're pushing into a full lineup, but then you've also got that bonus hero in the Lycanthrope. So we'll see. Maybe they're not though. Lycan seems content just to jungle, not worrying about Roshan at all. And usually if you're gonna just AFK farm, oh man, Wind Ranger dying in the bottom lane to the Necrophos. I guess that's a solo kill for the for the Necrophos on the Wind Ranger. Nicely done there. Reaper Scythe kill as well. She's dead forever. well over a minute in the fountain.
Yeah, I caught the edge. I mean, Taku was just a little bit too low in lane. It was just a simple death pulse into Reaper Scythe and easy kill going the way of CYS. So he's looking very good with that minus. Now 1,500 gold as well. We'll have them be able to complete up the mech very soon here.
Yeah, he's going to be able to take down this Roshan pretty quickly by himself, tanking with the wolves. He's backing off though, not sure. I guess he's going for, wants to get those treads out to him before he goes in. I though, picking up a Blink Dagger, is going for that more aggressive style of Tide that we thought about, or that we mentioned before. Not going for the mana boots first to try and farm up a little more and catch up on experience. Instead, he wants to fight now. So they got Ravage up. Now they got to make sure that they use it. I'm not finishing off Roche. Got a little scared. Boop.
Yeah, Ancient Stack is going to be scouted out here by the Radiant side, so perhaps they look to go take that. They use a Rocket Flare to scout that, and if they take that away from Soji's Tide here, they're going to be very worried. He did pick up the Blink, though, as you mentioned, so has more or less what he needs at this point. Mana Boots would certainly be nice, but either way, looks like they will stagnate for the moment. We're going to see RBD convene in this mid lane, and double damage Liposa with the Howl is going to walk up to the high ground. He'll find the Tidehunter. Is he going to hook in for it? He actually whiffs it. Blink out from Soji on the low ground. It is going to zone most of them back, though, and this should be a tier 1 going down uncontested.
Yeah, they able to zone him back. Didn't hit the hook shot, but it didn't really matter. They get rid of the Dire side. Together we did it. Forced out, and now Roshan, I guess. Or maybe they're going to go contest this Ancient Stack. Looks like that's going to be their goal. And they got to be a little bit worried about this. Together we did it, a little bit confused about where they are. Are they going to smoke up? They do. They're going to be kind of surprised when they run into them up here. It's going to get revealed by the ward as well. And Earthshaker does have Echo Slam, going to land a nice fissure. Beautiful Ravage coming out as well. Unfortunately, he doesn't have mana for the Echo to follow up. Didn't quite have the large enough mana pool. Now it's Tide who's in trouble. The Death Ward going strong. It's going to bring him down. Now they're looking to turn it. The SF gets off a Requiem. The Lycanthrope standing strong for now. Still alive. Kept up by the Witch Doctor and the Necrophos, and in the end it's a 3-for-1. Looks like they're gonna back off though. I mean,
it's
RBD
incredible how the Lycan survived. I think at HFN, if I watch correctly, dodged the Fissure damage with his shapeshift, and that's what kept him alive there. But he was so low when they looked to engage there, and unfortunately for the side of TWDI, he is able to survive. Necrophos actually went down to the Death Requiem of the SF, so a nice kill going TWDI's way, but with their SF down for it, really, they didn't find much of it. Hookshot in from Liposa outside of the Ancients. The Battery Assault is there. Soul Assumption will be here, not even needed. He'll be ticked down to the Battery Assault and the Familiars, and they should be able to take this Ancient Stack now.
Yeah, if they want to. It looks like they're having some problems trying to contest it. Wind Ranger's down in the area as well. Vengeful Spirit, they're going to get the D ward off, so now they don't have that vision that they did before. They got to be careful. SF's there. He doesn't have Requiem though. He does have a Yule. Going to get Cogs forward. Can still go for that Visage. And he gets him with the second raise. Nicely done. Taku picking off the Clockwork as well. Self Yules on the SF. Gonna throw it another raise. They get another kill. The Coconut's there though. Witch Doctor trying to finish off the SF. Not able to yet. There he drops down to the Visage Bird. So they get something at least. In the end though, it's a 4-for-1 exchange for Together We Did It.
Yeah, Jix with beautiful play there. Nice Echo Slam by Jipples as well. And now CYS a little bit too far forward. He's looking for something here. Could find Taku with the Familiars taking him down, but Blink forward, Anchor Smash, Fissure is there. The power shot and one Enchant Totem Strike from Jipples, and overall 5-for-1 going TWDI's way. Massive swing in their favor. 6,700 experience, so overall 5,400 experience swing and 4,500 gold going their way.
Very impressive sequence of events coming out from Together We Did It. They're able to fight for it, and I was a little bit worried. The fight right by the Ancients right here could have gone a little better if maybe they, Earthshaker realized he didn't need to initiate with Fissure. If he had walked in and just echoed, it would have been a very clean fight. That said, Taku going to be in some trouble, going to get chopped down by the Wolves. Doesn't even go for the wind run. Not sure if he had, it looked like it was still on cooldown, but brought down quickly. Now it's Earthshaker who's in some trouble, going to throw out the stuns, and looks like he's going to commit for it. Maybe not. The TPN from the Venge going to be enough to scare him off. Now the Familiars, he's going to lose one. Gets the other one stomped down. So now they're not looking to go. Clockwork is in the area though. Has that Blade Mail up. Not in range for a hook shot though.
Dire's top tower.
See if he wants to go for it, or if he's just gonna zone them off and let Lycan take the tower. Seems like that's gonna be the case.
Yeah, that will be the case, but they do get a tier 1 out of it, and Jipple's staying a little bit long in that lane after Taku does die, but he'll be able to make it out as the shapeshift was expiring. Nevertheless, tier 1 tower going the way of HFN. So Lycan, he's got 3,200 gold. It'll be interesting to see if he picks up perhaps a Basher soon, maybe for that BKB, but a little bit interesting to see him hold on to that much at this point.
I think BKB is really good. The only thing they've got to really deal with it is the Vengeful Spirit with swap. It's only a level 1 swap. I mean, the minus armor is going to go through, but he's getting that no matter what, so it doesn't really matter. But we'll see. SF also won't be able to Ewls him. Plus, if he gets caught out with his Blink Ewls that SF's now running, he can pop the BKB in that instant he drops. Have it queued up and ready to go, so it'll fire instantly. But not going to need to worry about that so far. And I think, like you said, you could just go straight for the Bash, or even just Necrobook or AC. And just go and look to really
honestly,
pressure. Oh,
I think you touched on it. I would really like to see an early AC. Shackle's not going to latch here on Lipo, so he should be able to cog. The Yule Scepter is there, but they are going to push back Jix's Shadow Fiend, so he'll be just fine. I was going to say I would really like to see an early AC from HFN. It's not very ideal, generally speaking, on the Lycan, but in this game, so much physical damage from both sides that AC would be very nice here, especially already with that minus armor from the Medallion. He's sitting on 18 armor currently, and he'll be more or less unkillable if he picks up that AC this early.
Yeah, the other thing too is SF, he's level 14. He's actually very high level for how far into this game is going, considering how rough of a start his team was having. But he's got that -6 armor. Venge has also got -6, so it would really help out his team. He's already got the Blast for a little bit of bonus armor there, but you get that AC as well, and it's going to counteract those 2 negative armor spells very nicely, as well as provide him with a little bit of negative armor of his own. Clockwork's looking for a hook shot, but I'm not sure if you want to go into that. Now SF, he's going to go for the Requiem, and he's going to get it off. That's it. He almost goes down. The Blade Mail was there. Nicely done by the Clock, but not able to finish him off. Now it looks like they're going to go for the next push, taking a lot of damage. The Wind Ranger going to get the Shackle. What is that angle? And killed and brought down. Taku, nicely done there, bringing down the Necrophos.
That's the reveal of the Orchid up onto Taku, doing a lot of work. And once again, a little bit too late to the party is CYS on that Necrophos. He'll feed over his life again, and that'll drop him to 3rd overall on the net worth. The Blade Mail almost killing off SF early Posa there, but not quite able to do so. He had 5 earn charges. If he was able to get 1 off before dying, that would have been huge, but he actually opted for trying for the right click instead, and it just wasn't there. So unfortunate for him.
It was a very nice play nonetheless, though. It forced the SF back, so they weren't able to pressure that lane any harder than they could just after making sure that 1 tower is gone. Tide, he's got a 4-step now, opting not to go for the mana boots early, and he's caught himself up fairly well. If we take a look at the hero levels, he's level 10. So I mean, it's still not ideal for your offlaner, but it's significantly better than what he was on pace to do, which is always good.
Yeah, RBD not looking quite as strong at this point as they were. Equilibrium is now at pretty much parity between both teams. They still have about a 4k gold lead for the Radiant side, but either way, the Lycan in HFN is going to opt for Necrobook here. I don't know if I love this decision into an Earthshaker, but either way, that's going to be his item choice for now.
Well, maybe it's the ultimate anti-Earthshaker strat. You just get so many of them, it echoes so much, he dies instantly. Is that even a thing? It's like how you deal with Tinker, mass blade mails and necrobooks, and just run into the march.
Yeah, I mean it's fair, but like when you're dealing with that much for an Earthshaker, right? It's kind of like you've already lost the game.
You gotta counter out those supports. Come on.
Yeah. Speaking of Earthshaker, 15 gold away from his Blink Dagger. Jipple's going to be a very big pickup for him. He's almost eclipsed that level 11 milestone as well, so that'll be very big for him. The Wolf is going to scout out Roshan, as is the Wave of Terror, however. HFN, luckily for him, is going to rotate in right after the TWDI scout, so a little bit of a false positive for TWDI, and this will be a free Roshan going RBD's way.
He picked up a DD rune as he walked in there. I mean, do we have a sleeper S4? Like, who is this guy?
He's just controlling the runes.
He just asks for whatever rune he needs. But SF picking up that blade, or sorry, not the blade mail, the BKB, looking for that. So won't have to worry about the Clockwork's blade mail anymore, or the damage from Reaper's Scythe, as well as the lockdown from Clockwork. So very smart pickup there. He can still get stunned, but that's about it. Coming up the clock. Oh, Tide going forward very aggressively. Goes for the bank. Gonna throw the Ravage. It does connect on 2. That's a lot for the Witch Doctor. That said, the Shackle is there. They're going to be able to bring him down. They just need a little bit. SF's going for the Requiem. Not going to get it off, unfortunately. The Death Requiem does fly. Witch Doctor gone down. Vengeful Spirit and SF as well. Now it's going to be Taku dropping Jipples. He's in a lot of trouble being chased down by the Necro units and the Big Bad Wolf. One more crit, and there they go.
Yeah, terrible communication from TWDI coming out. I mean, even if you land a Ravage on 2, you don't have any support quickly enough behind you. You really only have the Wind Run to be able to get the Wind Runner in.
The Necro unit still, so they can do a lot of damage. 10 seconds by the time they get to the high ground. They're going to take down this tier 3. They do, well, with the Glyph, they might not be able to before anyone starts respawning. But I don't think the Venge is going to be able to do anything. Earthshaker either. He doesn't have Echo. I mean, easy lane of Rax is easy.
Yeah. They'll be able to bring this down. No buybacks available, and just a terrible engagement from TWDI. The Tide jumps forward, but he's got no support available, as he's really the only one with a Blink Dagger and Wind Run, the only mobility spell else from his team. So definitely a little bit of a poor engagement from them. They'll feed over an easy lane of Rax, and 23 minutes in, this is going to be tough for them to deal with. They don't have the best heroes to deal with Mega Creeps unless they pick up some Maelstroms very soon. It looks like the Windrunner will do so, but still, either way, the tougher creeps are going to be very difficult for them to deal with.
And now you're dealing with, I believe they're super creeps. Are they actually labeled super creeps? They are. They're now labeled super creeps. I haven't bothered to check on them. I heard people start talking about it, but I never bothered to check. So now you got to deal with the super creeps in the coming up the bottom lane. Well, you're gonna have a Lycan Wolf and team with a Witch Doctor Necrophos sitting there supporting. Oh, Clockwork with a beautiful hook onto Taku. And this is going to be an easy kill. Reapers is there, and now the win range is down for 90 seconds almost. SF sitting in the bushes, not going to want to go in. But I think now they maybe look to push this top lane. They've still got the Aegis on Lycan. He's going to start rotating up there as well. Almost has the Assault Cuirass. And then it's going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, despite feeding over a few costly deaths from CYS, that Midas has really paid dividends. He's level 17, sitting on the highest level in the game right now, almost on level 18. And mid lane, they are going to find a HFN out. The Fisher's there to block him as well. And he does have the Shapeshift, not going to expend it, though. He's still got an Aegis. They can look to re-engage. Solar Jump going to drop the Venge very low. The Necro unit, Mana Burn, going to tick her down. Jumping forward is CYS onto Jipples. Death Pulse chasing him down. Will be able to bring him down. And 3 for an Aegis, going the way of RBD across the map. They'll be able to take this tier 2 with ease with no glyph available.
Yeah, and I think this is going to end up being another lane of Rax for them in the mid lane. Unfortunately, together we did it. Just some miscommunication there. Visage now with an Eggs summons his 3 birds, and this is going to be an easy mid tower. We're not in their favor. Lycan has that AC whenever he wants it. There it is. And I mean, even if they don't GG out now, which if they don't, if they want to just maybe play the game for a little bit longer, talk about what went wrong, maybe think about ideas, diffuse this time. Tide's said, Tide's going to go in big Ravage. They get off the SF ulti, they bring 2 down quickly, but can they finish any of them off? None of the cores dropping just yet. SF taking way too much damage from the summons. The Zoo doing a lot of work, and he's going to go down. Necrophos getting the kill. Wind Ranger's in the area, though, going for the damage. Not sure if this is going to be enough. The Fissure, and it is. Now it's, HFN, he's going to take a lot of damage, going to go for the Shapeshift, and he's actually going to run aggressive. Not sure if he was trying to be a little bit too cute, but somehow, oh, nope, one last arrow from the Wind Ranger, and they give up a lot there.
Yeah, not going for the range Rax there is a big folly coming out from RBD, and they won't bring down either Rax to any significant point, and that melee Rax is going to regen up. Very big streak going the way of Taku as well.
Yeah, at the end, I don't know if you saw it or not, but
yeah, covered in blood.
Vicious sent in the familiars and got the poor Earthshaker out from underneath 2 of his friends. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, nice return kill. Jipple's having a rough time, but does have his blink, so not the biggest loss. Either way, nice little pickup going the way of the Visage there. So Lovejoy a little bit cheeky on that one. He'll pick up plate mail as well, so perhaps a Shiva's for him on top of the AC. A lot of armor orders coming their way. AC was not quite there. It was actually being delivered over for that fight, so unfortunately, if they did have that, they probably would have brought down at least 1 Rax with that minus armor. Yeah,
and they got a little impatient there. They'd already lost the Aegis, and they do still have the Tide Ravage for base defense. Echo Slam as well will be up for the next time they look to push. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some solid fights. But I think in the end, 4 heroes can pressure mid. Lycan can just go take out this top tower, last remaining outer tower, and then they can just slowly pressure both mid and the top lane. Should be able to choke them out, and they are playing very nice and aggressive on the enemy side of the map.
Yeah, definitely so, and they've looked to choke in the side of TWDI here, but there is some nice Radiant defensive vision, at least in the mid lane and on the cliff. However, they are going to need to look for a big Ravage Requiem combo. Ravage down for 20 seconds, and RBD, well aware of that, are going to run headlong into the base and look to find, with their Necro units and the Howl, a quick set of racks, and they will be able to do so without committing much at all.
And that was a really nice job there. Just pops the ult, he goes in, cleans up with the units, not committing himself to it, instead moving around, not giving them an option to go for the Echo or Ravage. So they can back off, they can push out this top tower now pretty much, I think without any worry. I don't know if you really want to commit to... Well, maybe they do, they're smoked up. Maybe they are going to commit to try and defend this tier 2.
Yeah, Ravage ready.
Yeah, my only worry is if you lose at defending a tier 2, it's kind of hooch. Gonna go for the shackle, and now SF gonna pop his ulti, gonna bring 3 very low. The Echo is there, they get a double kill on Jipples, Taku with 1, Lycan on the backside, gonna be able to walk away. So they get 3 in a very nice engagement there coming out for them. Wasn't sure if it was gonna work out, but nicely done.
CYS. Yeah, CYS on the Necrophos made a big misplay. He stop casted his Reaper Scythe. He wanted to use it on the SF to cancel the Requiem, but felt like it wouldn't do enough damage, and he really did needed to use it to stop that Requiem, else they could have turned it around. But either way, no Lycan in the area as well for HFN, so not sure that they would have found a great engagement, but they certainly wouldn't have lost 3 that quickly. Either way, he holds on to that and pays for it with his life. And tier 2 still standing for TWDI here. So definitely an effective use of the smoke there.
Yeah, and we look at ways that they can come back, and it's through pickoffs, it's through good defenses like that, but it's going to be very tough. Wind Ranger is getting close to that Ags though, so we'll have that a little bit more damage there, and I think they almost need to take away this Roshan that's going to be spawning up, potentially in about 30 seconds. They need to contest that. They have Ravage, they didn't use in that fight, which is very good. If they can take fights like that using either Ravage or Echo Slam, not both, I think they'll be okay. SF's ulti on a pretty short cooldown, only 100 seconds. So not the biggest deal there, but they can continue to take fights like that without using everything, without throwing the kitchen sink, they'll be good.
Yeah. Jix's BKB down to 8 seconds now, and of course all the physical damage there from RBD really isn't too reliant on that, but once that dwindles pretty low, the Reaper Scythe damage will be pretty effective against him as well. And considering that he's gone for a very defensive build, or at least early on aggressive, but now defensive in terms that he doesn't have too much damage to farm with, he has fallen off in terms of the net worth quite heavily. The gap from HFN to this SF has widened considerably and is about a 3,500 lead right now, which is more or less the current gold up onto HFN. We'll see if he opts for that Abyssal Blade. I really do expect that to be the pickup from him here. Could be a heart, but the raw HP isn't bad in this matchup, but certainly there are a lot of ways to deal with it.
Yeah, they're going to send in all the minions. They're going to take down that tower nice and quick. Tide's going to go in on the Ravage. Actually connects onto 4. Not how much if they're sure they saw that. They burst down the Necrophos. Clockwork goes in, looking for that SF, and Echo Slam huge on the backside. Jipples with a very nice play. Witch Doctor goes down. Now it's the SF and Lycan trading blows. Not sure if they want to. Lycan is going to get stunned up, or Shaker almost away. No, he's going to drop. And the Visage now dropping very low. SF going to have to Euls himself. Those birds doing too much damage. The Suns are there. They bring down the SF. Now it's HFN. He's going to go down as well. In the end, a 5 for 2. Very nice play. And they get the gem.
Yeah, that's huge. Huge for TWDI, and they'll be able to establish once again some semblance of map control on their side with that as well. A big swing going their way. Unfortunate that Jix is one of the ones to die, but he still picks up 1,700 experience, 787 gold overall. It's about a 5k experience swing and about a 4,500 in the way of gold going TWDI's way. So certainly is somewhat of a comeback mechanic for them there. You'll see the graphs dip heavily in their favor.
Yeah, coming back down from 15,000 lead and probably maybe just shy of 10k experience. So they're showing signs of life. They're still kicking and screaming. Yeah. They don't want to go down. They've got Focus Fire on the 12-second cooldown from the Ag Scepter as well. They can go clear up Roshan very quickly with that if they want to. Also, Wave of Terror and Magic Missile just pop the Roshan. Lincoln's Focus Fire him down. So we'll see if that's something they want to go for. Clockwork thinking the same thing. Did scout it out. Wind Ranger also going to do that.
Yeah, top lane Jipple's gonna have a little cheeky play there. He Enchant Totem picks up one of the familiars from the side of RBD. He's gonna look to get another one, just is a little bit short of it. But either way, yeah, Roshan's certainly the next objective on the mind of both teams here, and it's constantly being scouted out by this rocket flare from the side of RBD. They will jump forward looking for it, but there is some division on the cliff from the side of TWDI, and now that it is daytime, they may see them rotate into the pit. However, they are going to scout it out here with the power shot, but it may be a little bit too late. A lot of minus armor coming out from this RBD lineup.
I'm not sure if they're going to get there in time to contest it. Looks like they changed their mind. No Echo Slam, no Ravage for 13 seconds. They're going to save it. Necrophos actually picking up the Aegis. You know, I think that's not bad. Lycanthrope, he can get in and out. He's got a BKB now picked up after he died. And
I think that's the right call.
I was going to say, I almost wondered if you buy out as either the SF or the Wind Ranger. Just spend your money because Necrophos has that Reaper Scythe with the Aegis. But we'll see if maybe you almost just spend your gold, because if you get Reapered and can't buy back, I mean, it's money that's it's a potential, I don't know, Yasha that might have helped in some way.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, yes, Jix is not too far off his Satanic if that's what he wants to build in, but I expect the next time to be something like a Butterfly for him. Either way, it'll be interesting to see if he opts to buy out. He's got 3,600 gold on this SF. I don't know if they saw the Aghanims in that last fight quite yet. Necrophos did drop pretty quick, so if he does show himself in front of the wave, which he does here, they should be able to click on him and scout that out. And in that sense, we'll see if they do pick this up. 24-24 is your score. Very interesting to this point, and it looks like RBD with this Aegis going to group up and look to take that final lane of Rax.
And Soji being a little cheeky there. I saw him toggle the Ravage, stop cancel at once. I was like, oh boy. Sometimes mistakes are made, so you got to be a little bit careful there. They're sending the birds around the top side. I don't think Visage has a resummon, not for a long time. They're already down a bird, so we can't really go in too much with that. That said, it looks like they want to road in through the mid lane as well, but we'll see. They're doing a decent job of keeping everything pushed out. They've got some decent creep clear with the raises, and oh, Tide's gonna go in. He gets the Ravage off. Now they're looking to blow up the Necrophos. They pop the Aegis. Now they get the Lycanthrope. Nicely done there, and the Witch Doctor is gonna go down as well. Now Necrophos blinks away, but I'm not sure if this is enough. Taku chasing him with the Wind Run. Shadow Fiend is going to be there for the Yules. This is pretty much a dead Necro, and bursted down. Beautiful engagement coming up from Together We Did It. They're still not done with this game. They want it to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so spot on with their engagements. They've gotten at least 2 heroes in every Ravage, and Rebeldes, unfortunately, intuitively, they look to converge on their heroes, which are in trouble, and every single time it's setting up for a 3+ hero Echo Slam coming out from Jipples, who's also been very on point with his ultimates, and in that manner, they're very well equipped to defend high ground, and they've been doing a great job at it, and now they will be able to march down mid lane. They'll take at least a tier 1 here, if not the tier 2.
Yeah, Wind Ranger's actually going for the ultra hard carry build, going for that Chrysalis. And I mean, it's the amount of damage, even with just a Chrysalis that she can put out when equipped with an Ags, is absurd. If she shackles anybody, I think they can drop down within the time of the shackle. She gets a little bit lucky, and she's going to burst down this tower very quickly with the help of her allies. And that's 2 towers going their way as well, so starting to catch up a little bit even more in that gold. We take a look at the gold graph. It's dropped down from just over a 15k gold lead to sub 5k. And experience has swung 15k in favor of them, from 75 against to over 75 plus.
Yeah, and look at all the item pickups coming out. 4k gold onto Soji, as well as his Perseverance Refresher Orb, not too far away from him. There's a full Satanic up onto Jix, as well as 2k gold. And as you mentioned, the Chrysalis onto the Wind Ranger. Things looking very good now for TWDI, and really CYS and the Necrophos hasn't been all that effective ever since he did pick up that Aghanims.
No, and the experience graph updated, you should maybe take a look at it. It's a yeah, straight down there. Now a 12,000 experience lead in favor of a team that was down.
And no gold lead.
Yeah, still no gold, but it looks like it's about to break even. And I mean, if they've been taking all those fights down that much gold and experience, with an advantage, hopefully they'll be able to do something. Tide has a refresher if he wants it. No buyback if he does, but he can. I mean, that's got to start getting scary. So that means they can use one Ravage to take a fight, push the lane, and take the other one with the use the other Ravage for the buybacks.
Yeah, and they've already lost a 15K gold lead in the last 10 minutes from the side of RBT. Very scary for them. The one thing that does kind of bode well for them in these next few engagements is they have blown up to the Wombo combo, and they do now have the 10-second BKB on Lycan, which wasn't able to be used last engagement. 10-second BKB on the Clockwork, and soon to come in 375 gold is the BKB for CYS's Necrophos. So if they pop those preemptively, they can just pretty much take a lane of racks. They push very quickly, so as long as they don't get caught by the Ravage, they're going to be very fine in these next few team fights. But now with all the physical damage coming out from TWDI, it's going to be a little tougher now than it would have been in the last couple engagements.
Yeah, and that last one was with the Aegis on the Necrophos, but I mean, when you get just insta-gibbed by the SF like that, and then they kill the rest of your team in the time it takes you to respawn, what good's an Aegis? They just kill you twice. So it was very tough for them. They have to wait for that next Roshan, and in the meantime, together we did it. They're just going to keep the lanes pushed out. Maybe if Windranger gets in range of either the Clockwork or catches somebody by themselves, she can bring them down very quickly. Like,
yeah, Soji's got 3K gold, and he's got 2,300 reliable right now. With his buyback sitting on 1154, he can pick up his full refresher here without being too worried about losing his life and not being able to buy back. So that's massive as well for TWDI.
Yeah, get the even if they somehow burst the tide. I mean, normally you think of Necrophos and somebody else on the team with a lot of burst damage, and they do have a lot of burst, but it's not in the traditional sense of, like, I don't know, Lena, Lion really popular right now, or maybe a Morphling going with a shotgun build or something like that, Skywrath Mage. You think of these kind of heroes to go with the Reaper Scythe, to almost just kill someone instantly, not fight them for a couple of seconds, and then Reaper Scythe them. So it's kind of tough. Plus the SF can get off that BKB. I imagine Windranger, she might be thinking of one as well. We'll have to see if she wants to finish that Daedalus or the Mjolnir first, but she could get one as well and be very tough for them to deal with her.
Yeah, full Ags up on Cat's Witch Doctor now, which is pretty nice. Level 2 Death Ward available to him, so if he's ever able to get one off in these engagements, should be able to do a lot of work. But team fight abilities have been used in a very quick succession from TWDI here, so Witch Doctor not having a great time in this one. He needs to posture himself up way behind the engagement until someone jumps.
I almost wonder is if you'd been given all the farm that it took Necro to get that BKB, given it to the Witch Doctor, I think it'd be in a significantly better place. Then Witch Doctor could just pop it and look at it go.
Yeah, it's certainly arguable there. They only have the swap to take him out of that. So either way, a very interesting point that you bring up. But they do now have the 3 BKBs, so perhaps look for them to wait for this next Roshan, which at minimum is spawning in a minute, and then look to push. But either way, with the BKBs, Rebeldes should be able to perhaps find one engagement. They have relied heavily on their magic damage from TWDI in these last few wins in their team fights.
Yeah, and Ian, if you give me a sec to pull up the current gold, if I can find it, there it is. Windranger, she's got 46, SF's got 4K, Lycan's got 36, Tide's got 33, and then the Visage of all people has 32.
Same for that Shiva's, yeah.
Yeah, almost has the... Actually, yeah, you can buy the Shivas right now. I mean, they definitely don't need an AC. They've already got one of the Lycan that's stacked, but is it lots of heroes holding on to a large amount of gold. SF's gonna buy bot, so going for something a little safer, a little more mobility, and still has that buyback ready. So maybe
it's an interesting choice from him, considering how many outer tier towers are still available for RBD. But they do want to take something right off the back of some wins. They are gonna have to push out the lanes, however, and ping out bottom lane.
There.
Yeah, Lovejoy has been spotted out. He's got a TP, but it's not really going to matter. It looks like he's like AFK or something. He's just going to die here with a lot of gold in his pocket, as you mentioned.
Yeah, so he drops down.
Must have been microing his birds.
Yeah, that's or maybe just caught unaware. Didn't realize that they were there until the wave of terror went through there. But Roshan going to spawn up any second now. It was a very short respawn timer. Unfortunately, that wave of terror is going to be... Oh! They ping it out. They see it. And this is cheese. If they can take this with Windranger very quickly, they can drop that TP, buy out a Desolator, or sorry, buy her Daedalus out, and then get an Aegis. I think that's fine, even if she doesn't have the buyback. She will come back. And we haven't seen the burst damage coming from RBD to really wipe a team in time to bring someone down. But we're going to see this Roshan take a lot of damage very quickly as Windranger is doing what she does.
Yeah, they need to push in this top lane and quickly from the side of RBD if they want to get anything, but doesn't seem like it's going to be happening. Instant TP's back. She's still on the ground here. Jipples is going to grab it. Refresher picked up from Soji, and HFN is going to get shackled up here top lane. They'll be able to shapeshift this off, but Eul Scepter still available from Jix. Will be popped. He's totally isolated here. Ravage going to be popped. Whiffs. BKB is there from HFN. That's the first Ravage down. Not sure if they've clicked on this Tide yet, but he won't refresh until they look to go in, and RBD probably not going to do so until this BKB cools down for their Lycan.
That was actually a really nice job by RBD. They forced a lot of spells, as well as they forced Earthshaker just to grab the Aegis, because the Wind Ranger needed to be out. I mean, maybe if you have another half second to think about it, you drop the phase boots and put them on the courier, TP back without, and just go without boots. Would have been the thing to do, but unfortunately, in the moment, just kind of unfortunately panicked a little bit there, but she's just going to keep pushing out the bottom lane. It'll be okay. They can still pass her the cheese if she wants to drop that TP, and I mean, cheese is still pretty decent. Not as good there, and also the Earthshaker, he can now go in for the full suicide echo, pop everything, and come back, so not terrible to have it on your
she's dropped in base for the time being. So Daedalus going to be completed up now by the Wind Ranger. She's looking pretty good in terms of her damage for sure. But as you mentioned, that Aegis going over to the Earthshaker is not going to bode extremely well for them in this game, next engagement. Albeit he is building into a refresher of his own, and is still a little bit of a ways away from that, but certainly not all that far off. About 1300 at this point if he doesn't save buyback.
I almost wonder if the it's kind of one of those things. Ags is better if you only need to use it once, whereas if you're ahead. But if he gets a refresher as well, he can go in Echo and then pop it instantly. Doesn't use that another Echo. He has one for when they push the high ground. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah.
Maybe with an Ags, you kill them all, but then by the time you push back, some of the one or two is respawned and the buybacks are up, so you can't really go in again. Lycan's up to like 6k gold, 6.3. Maybe looking for that Abyssal Blade, lock down the Wind Ranger, or the SF through BKB.
Yeah, he needs it. I mean, raw HP doesn't do too much against physical damage, so he does have a lot of armor already, so the raw HP is better now than it would be naked, but either way, I really feel like he needs that Abyssal. They do lack a little bit of lockdown, and since Liposa's early game, he really hasn't been influential at all in most of these fights. He's been blown up early, and they have been relying on him to trap at least one hero in the cogs, and just hasn't been able to do so. So Reaper Scythe also, more often than not from CYS, has been saved rather than used early for the lockdown purposes. So a little bit interesting. We will see a plate mail picked up by the Necrophos here. That's an interesting decision, considering that the Visage picked one up himself. But it looks like with this ultimate orb, Lovejoy perhaps going to go back for a Scythe of Ice.
Yeah, a little bit curious that Visage can maybe just feeling like the 5 armor is just too low base. Grabs a casual plate mail. I mean, as far as casual items go, plate mail,
yeah,
fantastic.
Good value.
Very good value right there with the with like a point booster.
Yep, it will be bots actually first coming out for the Lycan here. So maybe for a little bit of rat. The problem with ratting in this situation is that there's only one lane of racks left. So the only thing you can really rat is the tier 4s. But unless they look to take an engagement bottom, which is possible. TPs are already back though from Jibbles. And they're just going to perhaps look to take this tier 1 before HFN looks to jump into their base. They're already going to TP back the Tide as well.
Yeah, so they get the tower. Now, unfortunately, they're probably going to lose their Venge. Stun's going to come out, but that's just enough to get away. She's going to get hooked up and brought down quite easily. The Coconut's going to go. Actually swaps out of it, but, I mean, the Coconut, you can't run from it. It's everywhere. She's going to go Scepter, and buying a lot of time, actually. Oh, space created for her, but I don't think she's making it out of this one. She does have a TP, but, I mean, they're just going to chase her down. There's another flare, the Coconut. One more right click. And there it is. Clockwork picking up a kill. Now level 16. 3,600 gold in the bank. Maybe look for that Ags. Or some other item.
That is 60 seconds on the sideline for the Venge. Not the biggest loss, though. She's dirt poor at this point in the game. So no big deal for TWDI. I don't think we'll see a high ground push off the back of that. 4k gold up onto Taku on this win range. It'll be interesting to see what she picks up. Deso wouldn't be bad here. Could complete up that Mjolnir as well. But I feel like the Deso would accelerate their push quite a bit. Minus armor, of course, very coveted in this one. So I feel like that'll be a nice pickup. Shiva's Guard is going to be finished off by this Necrophos. CYS now picked that up for his team, is fearing it over on the Courier. So this could be the timing window to go in with all 3 BKBs available to them and the Shivas.
Yeah, Aegis is about to despawn in about 2 seconds on that Earthshaker, and they'll know that it's gone if, assuming they checked the rush timer on it, and it's going to be a long respawn as well. 4 minutes. Actually, no, it's not. What am I talking about? It's a short respawn. I was thinking it was 4 minutes after the... Yeah. Only spawning at 9 minutes after being killed, so it'll be back fairly quickly, and they can look to go from there. I feel like it's going to be pretty quiet until then. It's kind of... You start running out of things to mention. We've gone through the items the best we can. Lycan still not buying anything, Strange Edges, and SF actually going for the Lincoln Sphere.
It's a very good choice here. They don't have anything to deal with him through BKB except for the hook, which doesn't pop the Lincolns. And so if he wants to get that Requiem off under BKB, we may see CYS drop the Reaper Scythe, as he failed to do it last time and died for it. So if he does, that'll be a big wasted ultimate there, 70-second cooldown. So he won't be able to use it again in that engagement. Although he is smoked up and looking for something in this top lane, they're only going to run into Curio, unfortunately. Once again, it is the Vengeful Spirit, but will be a nice kill for them, and he just died recently, so they can probably pick him off. And actually, wow, big misplay coming out from their side, but very optimistic TP from Curio.
I mean, you gotta go for the TP.
Yeah.
So he that hook shot though made me wonder if he was gonna make her. Clockwork doesn't have Force Staff. I think he gets out.
Yeah.
Time. Clockwork not moving quick enough. But down the Venge, we'll look to see if RBD want to push or continue waiting.
They can buy something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's
at least the Basher. Like, you should at least have a Basher if you don't want to complete up the full Abyssal, worried about buyback or whatever. But
you know, how would you feel about MKB instead to deal with the Wind Ranger, so we can at least auto attack him through the Wind Run? I mean, it wouldn't be. It's not as much damage. But
and you do expect a Butterfly at some point from Jix if this goes late enough. So MKB certainly not that item. I like the lockdown there, though.
Another hook onto something.
Yeah, I don't know what it was onto particularly, but there's no Ags there for Liposa, so it's going to be a little while before they can initiate. This is going to allow Curio on the Vengeful Spirit to respawn as well.
Yeah, 5k gold. There's the Basher at least, though. Finally buys something. Realizes that whether he has, you know, buyback 1,700 gold or he's got 10,000 gold, it's not doing him any work. So spends a little bit of it. Actually going to use some of that advantage.
Up the Abyssal. He's actually just going to ferry over the Basher for now. This may scout out the double damage rune briefly, and actually they do have a ward there as well, so they're well aware that this DD rune is here.
Yeah, they might go for that. Wind Ranger, speaking of items, she's got a Perseverance. I imagine it's not a Bloodstone. I imagine it's also not a Battle Fury, so she's going to be having a Lincoln Sphere in a moment here. And I think that's a really good pickup, so they can either double Lincolns for the SF or each have their own, and I think that's probably a very smart choice.
I would have liked for her to go a little bit more aggressive personally. I feel like they haven't focused the Wind Ranger much at all in these engagements. It's more been on the SF and of course the Tidehunter if they can get to him early. So either way, I mean, it's going to be a nice pickup, as you mentioned. There's not too much to pop it, and the Reaper Scythe is a very big ability to be able to spell block. So Lincoln's not bad here. I just feel like Taku wasn't so much the focus. Top lane, they are going to blink forward, looking to finally post. He'll be able to cog himself, but Yule should be here. He's going to bait out. They're going to bait out, I should say, his 10-second BKB, and that's an unfortunate usage from Liposa, but at least it saves his life.
Yeah, he doesn't BKB there. That Shackle was going to latch, and he was going to drop, so has to be very careful. Lycan also kind of hanging out down here. Not in vision. Actually, maybe he is. They ping him out. Not sure where that ward is, but Battle Fiend in the area, not going to go for it. Has the Blink Dagger. Tide's going to go in and Ravage onto 2. He's going to refresh as well. Goes in. SF, no. Popping the Requiem. It brings 2 very low. Now are they going to be able to finish anyone else off? They lose the Tide. Jix dropping low. Going to get defensively swamped. He did pop the Satanic. It's not enough. Now the Earthshaker going down. They've got a buyback on the SF, but unfortunately, it's not enough as Taku is going to get caught out as well. Buyback onto her, buyback on the SF. They're going to try their best to hold. They don't have either Ravage.
No Ravage, yeah.
We'll see if maybe they can make a miracle happen.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate target to use the Reaper Scythe on, but either way, I feel like they should still be able to get Megas here. We finally saw the Death Ward do work in that engagement, and Taku gonna back off here as well as Jix. Gonna have the Visage Familiars dropped on him, but HFN, Objective Gaming, Shackle is gonna land onto the Necrophos. He'll get forced back defensively. Nice play. Liposa coming in with the cogs and the cast bouncing beautifully between these two, and finally Rebeldes gonna be able to crack that third lane, and GG is called. Hook forward from Liposa is gonna land after it matters. And Jik's gonna look to man up against him, but game 1 going to Rebeldes in this best of 3.
Yeah, and it was a very nice hold. They had a chance to come back. Unfortunately, didn't quite make it, but together we did it. They show some signs of life. Maybe game 2 won't be quite as bad. And I feel like after a certain point, they kind of just said, "Well, we're playing up against 2 lanes of creeps. Let's might as well play this out. See if they give us a gift here." But RBD, Rebeldes, they're probably gonna feel a little bit iffy about that. Even sometimes when you win, especially in a game like that, you kind of wonder.
Yeah, definitely so. So we'll see if they can pick up their socks in game 2. But yeah, Rebeldes on the brink of throwing there, but nice last engagement from them, and a little bit overzealousness once again from Soji's Tide. Catches out a multiple hero Ravage, in fact 2 of them, but just no follow-up immediately thereafter because his team still had to close the gap. So either way, nicely played for RBD, and we'll see if TWDI can come back in the second one to send it to a decider.
Yeah, and game 2 is going to be coming up shortly. I am at Wolf Dota. You can see it up in the top right-hand corner. And joining me is at MRP Dota. You can follow us both on Twitter. So feel free to do that if you enjoy the cast, as well as don't forget to follow Dota 2 Canada Cup on Twitter. And maybe take a look at the Tide set. You'll see it in the waiting screen. It's a very good set, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it if you pick it up. But until then, enjoy the tunes, and game 2 will be coming up shortly.